Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about something that I have become very passionate about. I've kind of always been a snob about water conservation, but I really am a snob about water conservation now that I live in the desert. And now that I live in a desert that's about to run out of water. If you want to learn more about that and Lake Mead and how Lake Mead drying up will affect the entire nation, you can watch that video up here. So I've done a water conservation video in the past. It's probably about 2 years old at this point, so sorry if I repeat any if you watched that original video. I didn't go and watch it to see which ones I've already talked about. I just brainstormed a list off the top of my head. Why is water conservation even important? If you live in somewhere like the Pacific Northwest, the Midwest, somewhere where it rains, somewhere where you're not going to run out of water, should you be conserving water too? And the answer is yes, and that is because water is not an infinite resource, a renewable resource. I mean, theoretically it is, but at the rate at which we're consuming everything, even renewables, we have the potential to run out, and we're seeing that right now live in the desert Southwest. We never thought we would run out of water, and now all that being said, I'm not saying that you are responsible for droughts. I'm not saying that we as individuals are responsible for conserving water. While it is important that we do what we can as individuals, households really don't take up that much use for water. At least in the United States, it's agriculture. The majority of the crops that are grown in the desert Southwest are for animal agriculture. So we're really going to get to see how going vegan or just eating less meat has a really big impact on the environment and will actually help us in the desert Southwest conserve water. And if all else fails, and you don't want to conserve water for the environment, conserve water for the money-saving benefits. If you were to do all of these, you could save hundreds, potentially thousands of dollars each year, and imagine how much you could save over your lifetime. And the first one is to turn off the water when you are shaving, brushing your teeth, etc. You don't need to let the faucet run while you're actively doing something on your face or with your mouth. Wet your toothbrush, wet your razor, whatever it is. Turn off the water and then turn it back on later when you need it. The same thing actually goes when you are like scrubbing and washing your hair in the shower. And then similar to that is to turn off the water when you're scrubbing your dishes. And if you're like, how do I wash my dishes without water? What I mean is, while you're scrubbing with the soap, you don't need the water running. Wait until it's all sudsy, wait until all the stuff is loose, and then run it back under the water to wash it all off. But at the bare minimum, if you think you need to run the water while you're actively scrubbing your dishes, please turn it off between dishes. If you do that every single time you pick up a new dish, those seconds add up and it could save you gallons. Number 5, and that is to use an electric razor instead of a traditional razor. Now, I'm not saying to go out and buy a brand new electric razor because that is quite resource intensive as opposed to just a safety razor. But the perks to an electric razor are you never have to replace the razor head. You don't have to use any water, no shaving cream. It can save you a lot of money over the long run. If you already have one, go ahead and use it. We already had one, so that's just what I choose to use. Number 6, and this is probably my favorite water conservation tip ever, and that is to catch your gray water. I do it the cheap, lazy way, and that is I found some buckets in the trash. I put them in my sink, I put them in my shower, and I catch almost all the gray water in our house. I use it on my outdoor plants. I don't use it on my indoor plants because I don't want them to stink, because I do use dirty kitchen water. You don't want your water to be really salty or super acidic with things like coffee, as well as use biodegradable soap. Please don't put harsh soaps on your plants because they will likely perish. It essentially cuts my water usage in half. Say I use 10 gallons of water to wash my dishes and I let it run down the drain. Gone. I then also use 10 gallons of water to water my plants. Gone. That's a total of 20 gallons. Now say I use 10 gallons to wash my dishes, catch it in buckets, and use that same 10 gallons to water my plants. I just went from 20 gallons to 10 gallons. Total. Number 7 is pretty simple. Don't make too much coffee in the morning. Like, make as much as you are going to drink or you and your office place are going to drink, because you are going to pour that down the drain, which is essentially wasted water. Number 8, if you like are a water bottle hoarder in your car, if you like hoard cups by your bed and they're like half full of water and they're kind of like stale, don't throw it out, don't dump it down the drain, use it on your plants. It's the same theory as catching gray water, but this time it's like still clean water, so you could put it on your indoor plants without them getting gross. The same in my house applies for old water in pet bowls. When their water is like half full and it's like kind of dirty at the bottom, and I need to wash their bowl, I will take that water, I'll pour it on a bush real quick, and then go and wash the bowl. Number 10, you can boil your pasta and steam your veggies at the same time. This way you don't have to fill up an entire pot of water to to boil each separately. This also saves a lot of energy, so overall it can save you a lot of money. Number 11 is to boil your water with a lid on. Not only does this also speed up the boiling process to save energy, this also prevents evaporation, meaning you won't have to add any more water later. Number 12 is to water your plants at sunrise or sunset. You don't want to water your plants in the heat of the day, and that's when the most evaporation will occur, meaning that water you just put on the plants will essentially just be gone. And I guess kind of similar to that, number 13 is to don't overwater your plants. You know, if you live in a rainy area, you don't also need to be running your sprinklers or going out with a watering can. Number 14, I thought might be kind of controversial, and that is to go to a car wash instead of washing your cars at home. But I never went to a car wash growing up. We always just washed them at home. We thought it was like less water, less money. But car washes are surprisingly eco-friendly for what they are. Obviously, they're not perfect, but they recycle all of the water on site. They also have systems in place to keep all of the chemicals and the soaps and like the runoff from the cars and the oils and everything contained, whereas you don't really have that at home. So you're either getting all that stuff on your grass, which could kill it, or you're getting it into our sewage system, which can go back and be drinking water for us, and it's just a whole harmful process. It could run into streams, whatever, you get the idea. Which leads me to number 15, which is use the dishwasher instead of washing by hand. Again, another one people probably think is not a more eco-friendly option, but dishwashers these days are very water efficient. Now, of course, this does depend. You do need to run a full load in your dishwasher, which we'll touch on later. But of course, if you're already catching your gray water, washing your dishes by hand, you can't really catch your dishwashing gray water, which is why I wash by hand now. And that leads us to this number 16, which I already mentioned a little bit, and that is run a full load in your dishwasher, but also run a full load in your laundry, because your laundry machine will spit out the same amount of water each time. You can, of course, adjust the load size, but it just makes sense to maximize the water usage. And then similar to that is to run your dishwasher and your laundry machine, your washing machine, on eco mode or green or low energy. They're probably called something different depending on each machine, but in short, it uses less energy and less water on those settings. Number 18, we're getting into some weird ones, and this one is to use dirty water to wash your dishes. But what I mean is, Dan's method and my method to do this is a little bit different. Dan fills up one sink and scrubs all the dishes in that same sink, so that water gets pretty gross by the time he's on the last dish, but it's so he cuts down his water usage. Me, I will wash my small dishes over top of a large one. So like after banana bread is a really good example, washing the measuring spoons and the spatulas over my big mixing bowl. And then at the end, all that dirty water is already in the mixing bowl. I use that dirty water to scrub the mixing bowl. I don't put more water in there. And then all of that water goes into my gray water bucket. Number 19, again, it just comes down to don't use more water than you need to use. Boiling pasta, boiling veggies, and so forth. I like to put my veggies and stuff in the pot first and then fill it up, not pasta. Don't do that with pasta. You have to boil it before you put it in. And so this way I'm not overfilling the pot because it takes more time to heat up that much water, and also all that water is essentially going to waste. Oh, and if you don't want to like catch gray water in gross buckets like I do, at the bare minimum, save your pasta water and your rice water and your veggie water, because that stuff has starch and minerals in it and can be really, really good for your plants. Number 20 is very similar. The same goes for like a kettle of tea. You don't need to fill your kettle all the way up to the top for 1 cup of tea. This is more of an energy usage because you couldn't reboil that water later, but I just boil exactly 1 cup. That way no water goes to waste and no energy goes to waste either. This one specifically goes out to those of you who live in the desert. Please remove your grass lawns. Not everyone can. I live in the desert, I have a grass lawn, and I'm renting, which makes it very hard for them to like approve the process. So it's kind of a game of give and take. Do what you can, of course, but I actually just made a video this month that I was very excited about, and I'm interested to see how it performs. That is grass lawns, why I hate them, why they are not eco-friendly, and eco-friendly things we can do to make our lawns better. That video is up here. Number 22, if you live somewhere where it rains and you use sprinklers to water your grass, just know that I'm haunting you. You don't have to have the greenest grass in town. And I know some of my neighbors, they're breaking water laws by watering their grass every single day, multiple times a day, to get the greenest grass in the neighborhood in the desert. Number 23, again, if you live somewhere where it rains, I'm very jealous of you. Maybe consider getting a rain barrel. They can be a little expensive, but there are some DIY options that can be really cheap. You can either attach it to the end of your gutter so your gutter water runs into it, or you can just set buckets outside when it rains. I think that's number 24. No, that's number 23, the budget option. Set buckets outside when it rains, bowls, watering cans, whatever, catch rainwater. I know a lot of people are like, but it's illegal. I don't think it is. I will put some research down below that I can find. I'm very confident catching rainwater is not illegal. And if it is, stupid. It's free. So this way you don't actually have to run the tap water to water your plants or run a hose or anything like that. This water is free. It was otherwise just going to sit on the sidewalk and evaporate the next day when it's sunny. So it's a great way to get some use out of some water. Okay, 24. This one's the weirdest one for sure. But flush less. If you pee, you don't have to flush. I'm not keeping poop in the toilet. If you want to do that, that's on you. But you don't even have to like let it sit there a while. But like we both pee in the morning and then flush instead of 2 flushes. And then the same at night. We both pee before bed and then flush once. Number 25, if you're already in the market for like a new shower head, new faucets, a new washing machine, a new dishwasher, whatever, opt for the most water efficient one on the market, especially if you're buying brand new and you have like a wide array of options. Now I still suggest that you buy secondhand. Number 26, this can also be expensive if you don't know how to do it, but that's just simply to fix leaks. Leaky faucets, faucets that are dripping, toilets can even leak. This could save you a lot of money in the long run though. And a lot of water. Number 27, I used to be guilty of this, and that is defrosting foods under the faucet. I used to just sit there and like run it forever, waiting for the water to heat up, and then running it forever more for it to defrost whatever I was defrosting. Now, it does take more effort, but I try my best to set things in the fridge before I leave for work, set things on the counter before I leave for work. Worst case scenario, I think I set mine outside in the summer if I need it to defrost really fast, but you could also boil some water, like just 4 cups or so, pour it in a bowl, and then just let it sit in that hot water. Still uses water, but a lot less. Number 28, don't worry, I'm not going to say don't ever wash your fruits and vegetables, but think about washing them in a more eco-friendly way. A lot of people will just run the water over their fruits and veggies to wash, which is fine, again, if you're catching your gray water and you're going to repurpose it. But if you're not, instead of running the water, fill up a bowl and then just use that same bowl to wash all of the fruits and veggies. Number 29, if you drink tap water, I know we did growing up, we would sit there and wait forever for the faucet to cool down. Just fill a pitcher, fill some water bottles, and put them in the fridge. So that way you always have cold water on demand without having to run the water. Number 30, don't use a toilet as a trash can. I mean, you can for like tissues, but what I mean is don't blow your nose, put that tissue in the toilet and then flush it. Just don't flush one tissue. Number 31, take shorter showers. It's that simple. I'm not saying you have to like do a 1-minute shower. You don't have to go extreme, but like if everyone cut 30 seconds to 1 minute off of their shower, we could save a lot of water. Number 32, if you're up for it, take cold showers. Why does this say water? Of course it saves energy, but instead of sitting there and waiting for minutes for the water to get hot, you can just jump in right away. But even if you're not into the cold shower thing and you have to let it run to get warm, this is where the catching your gray water comes in. Put a bucket in there, catch that water while it heats up, and then use that on your plants. Number 33 is to get stains out of your clothes before you put them in the laundry. Again, how does this save water? Because if you have a stain and it takes a few cycles to get it out, that's just more water you're running to try to get that stain out. Which leads me to number 4. Try your best to not leave clothes in the washing machine. I know we've all done it. So whatever you have to do, if you have to set a timer on your phone, like, hey, check the laundry in 2 hours or whatever, to remember to put it in the dryer or to hang it up, it can get kind of musty smelling, meaning you have to wash it again. Number 35, avoid watering your lawn on windy days, because then it's just gonna blow everywhere. It's not even gonna get on the grass and on the roots, whatever you're trying to water. But even if your sprinklers are on a timer and like you know it's windy, try to remember to turn them off. I'm not the best at that either, but this way you're not watering the sidewalk. Number 36, pretty simple. If you have a pool or a hot tub, put a cover on it to prevent evaporation, meaning you won't have to fill it up as much. Number 37, this one was very interesting to me, but it makes a lot of sense, and that is to put mulch or compost or some other organic matter on your landscaping and your garden beds, because this helps it retain more water and it reduces evaporation. Number 38 is a one for multitaskers, that is to wash your dog in your yard. This way, all of that water that you're using to wash your dog will get repurposed and water your plants instead. Number 39 goes out to the kids and the moms, and if you want to learn how to live zero waste with kids, I have a video about that as well. And that is simply to just teach your kids from a young age about water conservation. I mean, obviously it's important to teach them about everything in the zero waste life, but teach them about water conservation, especially the easy stuff like turn off the water when you brush your teeth. And speaking of kids, number 40, kids love sprinklers in the summertime. Do a 2-for-1 as well, a multitask. While your sprinklers are already running, watering your grass, say, hey kids, time to go on the sprinkler, so that way you don't have to run them extra. Number 41 is to use drip or a bubbler irrigation system for your landscaping and your gardens. This helps reduce water, and then it also gets the water right into the roots and really helps the plant maximize the water that they're receiving. Number 42, that is to replace any of your landscaping or even your grass with drought-friendly and native plants. These plants require a lot less water, are also a lot more drought resistant if you do happen to go through a drought year. This one's pretty out of the box, but I just wanted to include everything on here, and that is to use a composting toilet instead of a real toilet. Composting toilets use 0 water. They don't smell. Number 44, and I got this one from Dan, and that is to either shave with a bowl or like your sink half full. So that way you don't have to run your water to wash the razor off each time. You just dip it in the water, shake it around, and then keep going with your face, whatever you're shaving. Number 45 is to minimize your garbage disposal usage. Again, don't treat this as a trash can. Utilize composting if you have access to that, or just put it in the trash. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but if you're in it for the water conservation, then this will use a lot less water. Number 46, if you do wash your car at home, use biodegradable soap first and foremost, but also do it like over your grass lawn, so that way any water that runs off of your car can be reused to water your grass instead of just going down the drain. Number 47, this one goes along with the don't water your grass in the rain, and that is to check your sprinklers to make sure that they're actually spraying your water. Number 48 goes for your landscaping and your garden, and that is to remove any weeds. Not only can people interpret them as ugly, but they can be competing with your landscaping and any food that you're trying to grow in your garden, meaning that they're competing for water. And number 49 is to plant trees in your garden or your yard. Not only are they pretty, but they also serve a purpose, and that is shade, meaning you will have less evaporation on your plants. These next few are indirect ways that you can conserve water, like I kind of hinted at the beginning. And number 50 is to consume fewer animal products, or go all out vegan if you want to. Here's a quick chart on which animals are like the most water intensive. Off the top of my head, I'm quite confident that it's beef, because it takes a lot of food to feed a 1-ton animal, when instead we could be eating that food directly. But also, as I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of the crops in the desert Southwest are crops for cattle, specifically cattle, but for animal agriculture in general, meaning you're using our precious water down here to eat, a steak or a hamburger in the Midwest or the South or something. Any amount of animal products that you can cut out, eggs and dairy are included, but specifically meat is a great thing that you can do for the environment as an overall resource footprint, but specifically water in this case. And if you want to learn more about why going vegan is so good for the planet, maybe not so good, but a lot better for the planet, I will leave that video linked above, and if I'm out of cards, it is down below as well. Number 51, broadly, is to shop secondhand. This can go for literally anything. And then number 52 is specifically to buy secondhand clothing, because a lot of our clothing is made from plants, cotton, hemp. You get the idea. A lot of our clothing is made out of plants, specifically cotton and specifically denim. If you're going to choose any one item to shop secondhand in regards to water conservation and not just overall environmental impact. Okay, and now number 53, and that is to support recycled products in general, but specifically paper. A tree was grown, cut down, and turned into this cardboard to get shipped to me. I don't know if this company uses recycled paper or not, but you get the idea. If you have the option, choose recycled notebooks, choose recycled journals, recycled toilet paper, recycled paper towels. And then number 54 is to use concentrates. I'm thinking specifically shampoo, conditioner, laundry concentrates, concentrated dish soap, concentrated mouthwash, toothpaste tabs, and all that sort of stuff. And that is because all of these products traditionally contain water, some more than others, but I'm thinking like laundry detergent, that is a majority water, meaning you're paying for water. That water has to be shipped. It's really heavy to ship. Again, if you have any more ways to conserve water, please leave them down below. I'd love to make a part 2 because, again, super passionate about this. Everyone needs to be conserving water. I hope that you took some and you're going to use them and you found this video valuable. If you did and think other people will find it valuable, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, as well as if you share this video with others. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. Again, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe. Thank you to all my patrons. If you want to join us on Patreon, we do giveaways, video chats, behind the scenes videos. It's really fun. Would love to have you over there. And I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember that your small actions have a really big impact in the long run. Bye, guys. We're talking about a passionate majority of the crops that are grown in the Southwest. That was really fast. Number 22, if you live somewhere where you rain, that makes no sense. Way longer than I thought it was gonna be.